All right, here's my review of A Quiet Place 2, a brand new movie that is now playing in theaters, and I don't think this has a streaming window. I think now a lot of the big releases are going to have a 45-day window in theaters, and then will make their way to streaming. So this movie can only exclusively be seen at theaters, and let's find out if it was worth the wait. All right, this movie stars Emily Blunt's back. We've got John Krasinski is back, and John Krasinski wrote this movie and he also directed it. So he's got double duty this time. And he is at the beginning of the film. And I'm going to talk about how they work that in there. And you've got Cillian Murphy, who is joining the cast this time around, and you have the kids from the last one. So this movie picks up exactly where the other one left off. So, well, I take that back. There's actually the beginning of the movie is a flashback on how this all happened. We get to see the life of the family prior to the events of the first film. And there is one flaw at the beginning that bugged me a little bit. And I'm going to talk about that at the end of my review it's not really a spoiler, but I don't want to give it away during the main part of my review here. Here's what I will tell you about this movie. This is how you do a sequel. I was thrilled. When the movie ended, and this movie does end quite quickly, more quickly than the last film did. It just kind of ends at a point where you don't expect it to end. So you know there are going to be sequels. I don't think part 2 is going to be it. And if this movie is as good as I thought it was and what I think other people are going to think about this film, then it's going to make a lot of money and will definitely deserve a third film. And I'd be interested to see more of the backstory as well as what happens with the cast members here. So this movie does pick up where the last one left off, and they have the sound device that they have a couple of portable devices where they can stop these creatures. And I got to tell you, when I saw the trailers, I was a little worried based on what I saw in the trailers. I thought this movie was going to go a completely different way than what actually happened in the film. I was happy with the direction the film took. It wasn't something that I had predicted, and it ended up being fantastic. Looking at this movie, there aren't really any flaws in it. The acting is great. I always say Cillian, but Cillian Murphy, his role is fantastic in the film. And they had to have that male lead in there because, John Krasinski is not in it. If you haven't seen the last one, he does not survive the last film. So he's not in the main part of this story. And the characters in this movie end up getting split up because of certain events. And there's a couple of different storylines going on. And this movie is only an hour and a half. And I thought with an hour and a half, how are they going to do this? And they actually tied things up quite nicely and do definitely give some story threads for future stories that a road they could go down here in the future. And it was it's better than a good movie. It's a great film. So out of 5 stars, I give this movie 5 stars. It's not very often I can give a movie 5 stars, but this movie is a dang near perfect film. It hits on all the marks. It takes what you know about the first film and enhances it in this one. And you get to see a lot more of the creatures, but this movie isn't about the creatures. It's still about the people. And it's still very much about this family and their struggles. So I was happy to see that they continued the story and they did it justice. Like John Krasinski hit it out of the park with this film. The music, the emotion, and he's in the beginning. And when this all goes down, the look on his face and the terror you can see in his face without him even saying anything. John Krasinski, I think, is one of the greatest actors of our time. And he can convey so much just through his facial features. And this is what made him work really well in the Office program, was his acting ability. And he still shows it, but he also wrote and directed this. So I'm eager to see what they do in the future. And I'm eager to see what other people are going to think about this movie. So it just got released. The early showings were today. It actually officially hits theaters tomorrow, Friday. And if you want to go see it over the weekend, it's totally worth it. Go see it. All right, now what I'm going to do is I want to talk about the one thing that bugged me at the beginning, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not a huge one. So if you don't want to know anything, now's the time to shut the video off. All right, at the beginning, when the creatures show up and nobody expects them, they don't expect that these creatures are going to show up. and the way it happens is pretty fantastic. And there's a lot more story to be told. But all of a sudden, everybody knows to be quiet, like out of the blue. And I felt like it was a little bit of a cop out. Like they were expecting you to have the knowledge of the first film and just automatically get into that mode of everybody has to be quiet. But that's what ended up happening with these characters. Like instantly they knew to be quiet and not to make a sound, which I thought was extremely odd considering these creatures had just shown up and nobody knows what they are. But I mean, you clearly see them. I mean, you see a lot more of the creatures in this film. So that was my only one minor flaw with the film, is that they already knew to be quiet, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But all right, I want to know what you guys thought. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you will be notified as new movie reviews go up. There's lots of good movies coming up this summer, and I will be reviewing them on my channel. But I want to hear what you guys thought of the film. After you see it, come back. Please chime in. I would love to hear what other people think about this movie. But this is an incredible sequel to an already incredible first film. So we've got two films. I mean, they're short enough to where you could watch it as one movie, and it's fantastic. But there is definitely more story to be told. So I'll catch you guys on the next video. I don't know what's coming up next, but there are movies being released all the time this summer. And I can tell you, our theater was jam-packed. Like there wasn't a seat left for the seats that they had open. It was over 50% capacity. And everyone enjoyed this movie. It was very much like the first film. And it just goes to show that even after this pandemic, I'm telling you, people are going to show back up to the movies. You put something out there people want to see, and people will show up. So I don't think theaters are going to take that big of a hit. And when things get opened up fully, I think people will be back in force. So that's good. All right. That's all I've got for you guys this week. We'll see you guys on the next video.